Pro leads. JP Martinez held on the Pro-Am, and Scott Blinn not only held on but extended his lead in the Masters. There was some change for the second places. Ryan Yardley vaulted over Yves Boltas for second in Pro, and James Sofronas vaulted over Alan Metney for Pro-Ams. We had the same top 5 in the Masters category. We're expecting just the same today here on the Circuit Gilles.
Well, we're expecting quite a bit of overtaking. We saw some fantastic overtaking yesterday. There's some great overtaking opportunities here, actually, which is unusual for a street circuit. Particularly down into turn 10, that's where we need to look out for. The big braking zone there into the hairpin. We saw some moves work there, and we saw some not working. Also down into turn 1 and 2 on the Senna S's, that worked quite well too to get some moves done. Ryan Yardley getting his first win of the season in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. First win here on the streets of Montreal. Riley Dickinson, the championship leader, he had to come home second right in the wheel tracks of Ryan Yardley. They'll have been working really hard in the truck at Kelly Motorsport and Racing to try and switch that result round today.
Let's have a look at the 24 cars which will get underway in just a few minutes' time as we run down the grid. "12 rows of fabulous Porsches. Tom Collingwood on the back for the Pro-Am then. Todd Pario, the second place driver in the Masters, is on the inside of row 12. Wesley Stimp and Marco Cironi are on row number 11. That's a Pro and a Pro-Am driver. Alan Metney didn't get the points that he wanted yesterday in Pro-Am, and he'll have to start from 20th today in the silver Highfly 99 car. Scott Blind in the number 19 with a huge lead in the Masters Championship. He has not been headed in the championship, and he's taken every single race so far. On row number 9, we've got the Torres and Sofronas partnership, both in Pro-Ams. That's the 16 and the 14. Then it's Martinez and Stewart on the 8th row of the grid. Mulcahy and Cook and Sabre Cook in the 37. That's Pro-Am and Pro. Ashley Freiberg, desperately disappointed for Ashley yesterday. She was well up and she's qualified well again, but unfortunately yesterday a little bit of contact took her out of the race on the first lap. And alongside her, or should I say on the row in front of her, is the, alongside her, I was right in the first place, number 71 car is the Bacchus car. Then Aaron Johnson. Now he had to come from the back of the grid yesterday because he just simply didn't get out for qualifying and get any meaningful laps. But the rules in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America say that if you do a faster lap time in qualifying, in the race than you did in qualifying, you can to challenge at the front of the field. He started in 24th yesterday, starting in 10th. You've got to think that he will be a contender for the win. On the inside of row number 5, Michael De Quesada. Then it's Michael McCann and Tyler Maxson, both Pro entries there. That's the 877. Matthias Leist and Zach Vanier are in 6th and 5th position. Yves Boltas, who will want to get another haul of points today, possibly just lost a little bit of ground yesterday, dropped down to 3rd position. He's on the 2nd row with Jimmy Ibra in the number 2 car. Riley Dickinson on the outside of the front row. He's our championship leader in the number 91. And Ryan Yardley, as he was yesterday, on pole position. And Ryan drove a very good race yesterday, Peter, make no mistake. He started on pole, but he had to convert, did what he needed to do.
He did, because Riley Dickinson was on his case the whole way, right on his tail. And Dickinson, the championship leader, former champion as well. For Ryan Yardley, he doesn't need any reminder how strong Riley Dickinson is, and he managed to hold him off. And it's a long race, 40 minutes. It's a long, long way. And he was under pressure the whole way along. Let's see how it goes today. I think it's going to be very, very evenly matched between that leading pair. And, we could see some other characters coming to the front too. Zachary Vanier was quick yesterday. And indeed, Aaron Johnson, towards the end of the race, he was running the same lap times as the leaders.
Waiting for our pace car to roll off. We've got a bit of wildlife gently nibbling the greenery on drivers right down towards turn 1.
Is that Gary the groundhog?
I think that might be Gary the groundhog.
He's the world's most famous groundhog.
Yeah, well, he's out there at the moment, and I just wonder if race control will be keeping an eye on that. 3 different classes here. The pros at the front of the field. There are drivers who are making a career out of motor racing. The pro-ams, well, they kind of haven't made their minds up yet, or they're a little bit older and they've had a career and they're still enjoying themselves. And the masters, well, they are enjoying life and have a little more experience of it. The cars are all identical, Peter. The classes are graded on the drivers.
That's right. Identical cars, built in Flack, actually, just outside the village of Weissach, on the outskirts of Stuttgart. And these machines, there are over 5,000 Porsche Carrera Cup cars that have ever been built since they were originally launched in 1990 of what was a fairly lightly modified road car in those days with the 964. Things have changed quite a bit since then. This is a proper race car.
First race, if I remember rightly, was at Imola, and in that year, and a fairly famous winner of the championship that year.
Yes, Olaf Manthey, whose cars bearing his name continue to race at the 24 Hours of Le Mans at the Nürburgring, where he's the joint most successful team owner in history at the Nürburgring 24 Hour. But Olaf running it in Germany, and it was very successful. And the Mobil 1 Super Cup, the international championship, which has followed the Formula 1 World Championship ever since, that kicked off in 1993.
Porsche Carrera Cup North America this weekend had the honour of being the first Carrera Cup, or even the Super Cup didn't have the 992 cars before we did here in North America, 3 seasons ago. The 992 is the 8th iteration of the venerable Porsche 911, first seen in 1962. Got to be one of the most recognisable cars. It's got a little bit bigger, it's changed its shape a little bit, but I think if you showed anyone who knows anything about cars a silhouette of this car from wherever it is in those 62 years, they'd immediately recognised it as a 911 Porsche.
And it's the breadth of motorsport applications that the 911 has been used for. In rallying, it was incredibly successful, winning the Monte Carlo rally on 3 occasions. In sprint racing, like we have here in the Carrera Cup. In endurance racing, you know, the 911 was the base of the Porsche 935, which dominated endurance racing, particularly in North America throughout the late 70s and early 80s. If you didn't have a Porsche 935 in those days, you weren't winning.
And it even won overall at Petit Le Mans in awful weather conditions, with Nick Tandy and Patrick Pellier among the drivers against the prototypes. They had the opportunity, because of the bad weather, although every time they failed was reset with a safety car, they had to go back through the prototype field. This is a car that is steeped. This is a manufacturer that is steeped, and a model that is steeped in motorsport. Without motorsport, there would be no Porsche. And Dr. Ferdinand Porsche built his first car. He didn't have the wherewithal to do advertising, so he went and did some local hill climbs and races in Germany in the small engine but light and nimble cars. That's what got him the publicity to build the car company that we now know as Porsche. The green and white car is the outside pole. That is Riley Dickinson. The black and yellow, number 78, is Ryan Yardley. And they are coming round to the final chicane now. A rolling start, 40 minutes on the clock. 24 4-litre, flat 6, normally aspirated cars, just over 500 horsepower each, so something over 12,000 horsepower about to be released. And Riley Dickinson gets the jump there. He might even get across the start-finish line first. I reckon he did. That might have to be looked at by race control, but Ryan Yardley does get to the apex of turn 1 and turn 2 before the outside pole sitter, and Riley Dickinson drops into second with Jimmy Liebler in third and Yves Baltas in fourth. 3 wide, further back, and on the inside, the number 11 is Michael Dickinson in the red car with the stars and stripes, the number 11. He's made up positions, but we've got everybody
for the number 16 machine there of Torres.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Now what happens to Michael Torres? Let's see. Oh, he got some help
by Scott Blind, the
yes,
Masters Championship leader.
That may well be looked at as well. At the front of the field, our pro leader is streaking away side by side further back, and the mostly white car coming down the inside, down the outside, excuse me, is Zach Vanier. The green car on his right-hand side is Yves Boltas. They come through the kink onto the back straight. The next corner is to the right. It will favour the green and white car on the right-hand side of the circuit. That is the preferred line into the corner. Who else is in there as well? Right in behind them, we've got, I think that's Tyler Maxson, is it? Yes, it is, in the blue-fronted Apex car, the number 77. Extraordinary racing in the mid-pack as we're looking down from 4th, 5th, 6th, and even Michael Dickinson in 7th place.
Much better start to the day for Jimmy Libre in 3rd position in car number 2. He had the win in his grasp in Miami, and it didn't go his way, unfortunately. It was absolutely devastating for that young man who worked so hard to get on the grid here, and he's there in 3rd position right now, and not far behind the 2nd place car of Riley Dickinson, who in turn is, sorry John, who's right on the tail of Ryan Yardley, the leader.
Let's have a look at the classes, and it is the number 54, the Mackay car, that leads in Pro-Am in 14th position, ahead of Martinez and James Sofronas, and in the Masters category, it is Scott Blind ahead of Todd Parrio.
So Yardley now under pressure earlier on this time from Dickinson. Yesterday he made a gap early, and then Dickinson ran it down towards the end and just ran out of laps. Now Dickinson is much quicker in this early part of the race and is right underneath the rear wing now. He's going to have a look. Is there enough room? Yardley just snips it off. They rub a little bit of body work, and a little bit of a tap and go there as Dickinson side by side now with Yardley as they head up the hill now towards the wall of champion chicane. I think Dickinson's going to get ahead here, John.
He's on the right-hand side of the circuit. It's a right-hand corner to come next, and it'll be a question of who is bravest on the brakes. The noses of the Porsche dip. Huge curb strike for Riley Dickinson in the white and green. Kelly Moss Racing for Children's as they go across the line, and that is the car that leads. So Riley Dickinson, championship leader, goes to the point and leads after 2 completed laps, but still 36.5 minutes to go. Jimmy Libre hanging on to these. In fact, Jimmy Libre's closed in on the 2 at the head of the field, Peter.
Yeah, the process of Riley Dickinson making that overtake was enough to bring Jimmy Libre right back into the mix. Probably a 1.5 seconds going in the favour of Libre. So now it is a 3-car battle at the front, and if they continue to battle like that, Yves Boltas, the He's from Ontario. This is, of course, not his home province, but he's definitely approaching it as his home race because he's even got the lumberjack shirt and dungaree overall, which I thought that was a cool touch.
Yeah, the plaid shirt with jeans apparently as his race suit, and bright yellow braces, suspenders over his shoulders. Of course, it's not real, it's all there on his FIA approved race suit, but attention to detail there. Nola Sport car going round the outside for a moment there, but does not get the pass made. Watch out for the yellow and white car in behind the red, and in front of them the green and the white car. This is all battles for position as they come into the final corner through past the wall of champions. How many people have clipped their right rear wheel on there and ended their race? Not just the world champions, the FIA world champions in Formula One, world sports cars as well, had a world champion hit that wall there, and that's where it's got its name. Dickinson then by 0.2 seconds. Ryan Yardley desperately trying to get back into second position in the championship, and at the moment he would steal second place back from Yves Bottas if it stayed as it is.
Michael McCann, fastest lap of the race, back in 8th position, 1 minute 37.822. Fantastic stuff from McCann. Also much better run of things for the number 11 of Michael de Quesada. He's in 6th place. Unfortunately had to retire yesterday after contact with another driver, damaged the car. Now much better. But Tyler Maxson unfortunately has dropped a few positions. He was running up the sharper end earlier on, but he's dropped back to 9th. Likewise, surprised, John, that Aaron Johnson
hasn't gone forward.
Exactly, he's still in 10th.
Yeah, had a very quick car yesterday. The only thing I'd say about that, Peter, is the Michelin tyres here are not an infinite resource. I wonder if he's running on a used the Yokohama tyres are not a infinite resource here. I wonder if he's running on a used set today.
Could be, because he needed the new ones yesterday to
Correct.
make such a charge through the field, and that could well be what with Riley Dickinson making his way through on those Yokohamas, which of course is a new thing for Riley. Whoa, massive slide for Zachary Vanier as he gets a wheel up on the car. Big slide coming out of the Wall of Champions, and he's still batting with Bottas. This is exactly what we saw yesterday. It's just an action replay. Are we watching the right race?
It is live, I tell you. The number 9 of Zach Vanier flouting the curb on the right-hand side with those Yokohama tyres, but somehow managing to stay through the apex and get the exit from the corner. Dickinson has pulled the plug, and yeah, he's off. He's just put the fastest first sector of the race in at 27.1. That's 0.3 of a second quicker than Ryan Yardley in a 27-second sector. That is Dickinson putting the hammer down.
Yeah, pulling the pin. That was the cliche I was going to use.
You pulled the plug on everybody else, yes, so you might as well be going backwards.
That's it, scampering off into the distance is Riley Dickinson in that Kelly Moss Road and Racing machine. That particular car, that particular entry has some seriously special drivers in it. Luke Hartog drove it last year. We saw Kai van Berlo drive it too. So Kelly Moss always running so many cars in this championship and providing a platform for drivers to come in and get involved. But tends to be every year they always have a very, very quick young star in that car.
Porsche fastest lap of the race, 1:37.337 by our leader. So we weren't wrong there. The split times do not lie. Of course, Riley Dickinson to now, all of a sudden, Peter, from being a couple of tenths, it's a second.
Yeah, he's pulling away, but Bottas is fallen into the clutches. Michael de Quesada, who nerfs the number 15 out of the way, and then through comes Matthias Lees, who said, thank you very much for clearing that path for me, and he goes through. So Bottas is dropping like a stone at the moment after being in the battle with Vanier for 4th. He's now down into 7th position.
So still 31 minutes to go.
McCann hits the wall. McCann has rubbed the wall.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. Yeah, got pancaked into the wall there. He has kept going, but I would be amazed if the car is driving straight after that one. For the number 8 of Michael McCann, looked like coming out of turn 7 on the left-hand side there. He still kept going. Oh no, and he's just gone straight on at the turn 8-9 chicane. So I think Michael McCann may be in a lot of trouble. Yes, he's going slowly. The fielder going past him. Yeah. Oh no. I mean, you can't really get away with hitting the wall that hard. These cars are strong, but there is a limit.
The black car with the red stripes is what we're talking about. Michael McCann in number 8 car. Pass on the grass, further back in the field. We'll try and pick that up and see who it was as the leaders streak down to the final corner again. Riley Dickinson improves the best lap to a 1:36.692 last time around. What does he do this time? He doesn't need to go any quicker.
Great move.
Pulled out 1.2 seconds there.
Great move from Aaron Johnson on Paul Bocuse to move up into 9th position, and this is important because although it's not for fighting for the overall victory, Johnson has got Tyler Maxson ahead of him, and both of them are fighting tooth and nail for the rookie championship, and all those points are really, really important.
Going back 6 laps or so, it was a fairly clean start to the race. No, it wasn't actually, that's not fair. It was a very clean start to the race. There was a moment when I thought that Riley Dickinson might have just been able to jump ahead in that white and green striped car of the black and yellow pole sitter. But I have to say that Ryan Yardley held his cool. It was problems in the middle of the pack after a couple of laps with a spin.
That means then that Todd Parriott leads in the Masters category, but only by just under 12 seconds. Now, why is that significant? Yesterday, Scott Blinn won by a big, big margin. So Blinn's not out of it yet.
Great piece of overtaking by Riley Dickinson. Couldn't get it done off the start, but then planned it absolutely perfectly to get ahead of Ryan Yardley, and that's where he sits at the moment by about a second. But Ryan Yardley has just nicked the fastest lap back as he tries to chase down the leader.
Fantastic stuff out there in all the classes. JP Martinez has only got 0.2 of a second in favour over Patrick Mulcahy. They sit at the moment at 14th and 15th overall, but nothing between them. And yesterday's winner, James Sofronis, is in 3rd place right behind them.
Dickinson, Yardley, Liebler, Vanier, De Quesada, Least, Baltus, Maxon. Aaron Johnson has got up to 9th position now, so he started to move forward, but my guess is that he used a brand new set of Yokohamas yesterday to try and get him through the field and get a better starting position.
Yeah, and that might have been the case as well in the Pro-Am category for James Sofronis to have that, you know, to have that advantage yesterday. He's maybe not got quite as much today, so it's that resource is very, very important.
Martinez and Mulcahy fighting in their category. As we mentioned, 3 different classes, all down to the drivers through the hairpin then. Now, can the Nola Sport machine, that white and yellow car, make a difference? Oh, not 2 ago at the final corner now.
No. That was Michael McCann, who'd hit the wall, then went straight on at turn 8-9 with the damage to that car. Now, did he go to the... Is he still circulating? Yes, he is.
Yes,
so
he is.
He didn't. In fact, he's just done. I can't believe that. He's just done his personal best of the race. So the car, Mercedes car was strong. My goodness.
Matthias Leist took the camera off the wall as he went. That's how close he was. But the key thing about that run across the grass, Peter, is that rubber underfixing to the front air dam was pulled off. It's an interference fit, so you just put it on, push it on there to the lip on that front air dam. But it's hugely important for the aerodynamics to get the front end of the car to turn.
And yet he was still able to put in his personal best
wow.
in the race. That's remarkable. So if they're chasing the setup issue, the working the wall is fixed the setup issue. I'll never forget in Formula One once where a team, they damaged the front wing and they went a second and a half quicker, and they said, well, we fixed our front aero problems.
Yeah, just tear the wing off. Yeah, absolutely. Dickinson now just by 3/4 of a second. Then there's Jimmy Lieber and Zach that are fighting for 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd and 4th. Then about 3.5 seconds back to Michael De Quesada and Matthias Leist and even Baltas. They're all together, separated by around about 7/10. Oh, that was a bit naughty. That was a bit naughty there as the 15 car gets pushed off. That's the bright green car that we've been watching of Yves Baltas. He's having that scrap with Matthias Leist, and he's straight back onto the rear end of the 47 car, but he's been joined by the blue car of Tyler Maxon, the 77. So that then is 6th, 7th and 8th, Peter.
Yeah, great battle going on there between Least and Bottas, and Maxim's really got his head down. It just didn't quite go his way in the opening laps. He got on the wrong side of a move that he tried to go for. That cost him a lot of time, but he's recovered it well. Meanwhile, up nearer the front of the field, Jimmy Libre is trying to hold on to the last spot on the podium ahead of Zachary Vanier, who would desperately love to get a podium here at home, and no doubt he'll have friends and family here to watch him on this Formula 1 Grand Prix weekend. And a little mistake from Libre, and here comes Vanier then as they head down the hill towards turn 10.
Now Vanier, the white and red car, is on the wrong side. He's going to have to take the long way around. The red, white and black car on the inside, the right-hand side. And that number 2 holds on to it there for Jimmy Libre. This is the last step on the box. The podium position will have the 3 class winners up in the cool-down room and on the Formula 1 podium. That's pretty epic, isn't it? Being on a Formula 1 podium on a Formula 1 weekend. And still, the red, white and black number 2 car, Jimmy Libre, holds on to his 3rd place. Barely. Absolutely barely.
Libre desperate to get a good result under. He's had pace. He's had pace so far this season. The results just haven't gone his way. Racing can be like that sometimes. As they come through the just a few moments ago, coming through. Oh, robbing as Michael de Quesada puts his red paint on the wall of champions. A rite of passage.
Halfway through this contest, actually not quite. We've got another lap. 3 minutes before we're at the 20-minute mark. Riley Dickinson not pulling away from Ryan Yardley, Peter. And I think this just underlines how good Ryan Yardley is. The man from New Zealand into the pit lane.
Michael McCann, so that the
damage.
Oh no, there's a leak of the radiator leaking at the front right of the number 8 machine, McCann Racing, family team of course.
Yep.
And yeah, when that happens, that's an instant pull the car in. You do not want to risk overheating the engine.
Libre and Vanier side by side again, coming out the hairpin. They touch once, they touch twice. Now they've got half a width of a car between them, possibly even less. The white and red car is on the right-hand side, should have the better line. Just banging tyres, banging bodywork. But it looks like Jimmy Libre will not be denied. He goes very wide indeed over the exit curbs towards the wall of champions. But he's made it through, and he is now on the podium.
Brilliant stuff for Zachary Vanier in the Dom's Pizza machine. And this is so important for Zach and his dad, who actually drive to nearly all the events all the way around North America from their home in Ontario, just to effectively to save budget. So this is their home event as such, even though it's in a different province of Canada. But this means a huge amount to this young man, and he's desperate to put himself on the map in the IMSA paddock. This is the beautiful thing about the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, is that it travels, it goes to some of the Formula 1 rounds, yes, but it is also part of the IMSA WeatherTech Championship paddock, and that is where these drivers, the shop window that these drivers want to put themselves in.
I think that's a very good point. Very good point indeed. You've made there, Peter Mackay. This is one of those things that the other teams and the other championships are watching if they're not on the track, as the Torres GT silver car, Fernando Torres, goes airborne. Harm no foul. He's down in 23rd position. Sad to say that we can't have an 8 car in the pit lane and will not be going any further. You mentioned being on the IMSA playlist, if you will, the schedule. Super important because the team managers from IMSA Pilot Challenge and the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, they will be looking for young talent. And what do we know about Carrera Cup around the world? If you are good in that, you are going to attract attention, either from Porsche or from someone else. Not always the, hey, some of the manufacturers are a bit sneaky. They wait to see how the guys do in the Porsches and then trying to sign them up themselves. But the list of drivers who've come from Porsche Carrera Cup and Porsche Super Cup into the very highest level of endurance racing, well, it's Legion.
Well, Jörg Bergmeister, Carrera Cup Germany champion, Super Cup champion, Timo Bernhard won in Carrera Cup Germany, as did Mark Lieb, Kevin Estre, Nick Tandy, Lauren Heinrich, Thomas Preining, Julian Andlauer. Need I go on? These are all Porsche factory drivers who have gone right through that pyramid. They've proven themselves in Carrera Cup. They've been taken up into independent GT drives, then into factory, and now fighting at the very front of the field in events like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That is what these drivers, that's the top of the mountain that they're aiming for, and this is where they start.
Into the last 20 minutes. Battling for the minors at the moment. Matthias Leitz is in the black and yellow Motorsport number 47 car. He sits in 6th. Yves Boltas in the green and white number 16 is in 7th. The blue Johnson now in 9th position. But those cars are so close together, Peter. Any slip there and you could lose or gain 3 or 4 places quite easily.
Yes, you could, and we've seen that several times through the field of just, one overtake goes the wrong way and all of a sudden you get freight train, because there's not just one car behind you wanting your position, it's another. And actually Aaron Johnson now, he's bridged the gap to Tyler Maxson. There was a bit of a gap between them, now isn't. That's the battle over 8th place, but it's also the Rookies Cup that they're wanting to get on their mantelpiece, as well as a good overall result. I love the colour on Aaron Johnson's machine. It's like, it reminds me of a paint to sample colour called Shiraz Red, which you can get on a Cayenne. And when my number comes in, that's what I'm going to have.
Do you know the paint code?
I don't know the paint code, I'll be honest. I can tell you what GT Silver is. It's M7Z. That's what these colours, these cars come in, as GT Silver when they're new.
There's not very many of them that are still showing very much GT Silver, thanks to the technology of vinyl and wrapping nowadays. Although Alan Metney in the number 99 does have the car showing most of its original bodywork. The days of the early Porsche Carrera Cup and Super Cup, all the cars were supplied in a slightly metallic shade of white, hence Carrera white, race white if you will. Now let's see if the aerodynamic draft can help that number 15 car of Yves Boltas. He gets alongside, he's to the rear wheel, bailed out though in the final corner, he can't go through there. Now what he needs to do here is lift off and let the yellow and black car go back through without losing another position. That's easier said than done. Well, he's had a go, he's gone through on the front straight. I'm not sure he made proper restitution there, Peter.
No way. They were side by side at best. No, should have given that position away. For my book, I mean, we're not the race directors. We just watch and try and describe the pictures. But there's no way there for Yves Boltas, and I would think Matthias Leitz right now will be hammering the radio button on the phone back to the crew to say, well, guys, you need to speak to race control because that's not on. He straight lined the chicane and didn't give the position back.
Riley Dickinson now leads by 1.5 seconds, but this scrap goes on. This is a proper street fight. It might not be on the streets here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. This is effectively, it's a hybrid circuit, isn't it? This is an exhibition area, and these streets have been used for racing so long it might as well be a permanent circuit. It's not, but it's not classed as such, but it certainly looks like one. Really good combination of corners, fast, medium, slow acceleration zones. The number 47 and 15, Leitz and Boltas, still scrapping it out. But Tyler Maxson, actually I'm quite surprised Tyler in the blue Apex car, the number 77, hasn't been able to make an advantage, but coming through behind them is Aaron Johnson in the number 24. He does like the number, Soul Red it was called in the Masters, he designated the champion, and he's come up through the IMSA Manufacturer Championships to the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, proving, for those that didn't know, that this is one of the premier single manufacturer championships in the world. And of course, the only manufacturer who does support Formula One on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And has done for many years with the Super Cup.
Long time, yeah, when the Mobil 1 Super Cup was launched in 1993. So through comes Bottas again on
lovely.
Least, because Least had got by into the wall of champion chicane. Bottas has just made a move, but then now Least is fighting back as they head down the hill now towards turn 10, and Least is going to try and get this onto the braking zone as they hit the brakes, and Bottas just hangs on to it, and through goes Johnson on Max and behind them.
That's lovely. That was a lovely opportunist move there by Aaron Johnson in that dark red and silver car. Took the opportunity to have a look down the inside as it went too wide and too deep into turn number 10. Now into the final chicane. Still 14 minutes to go. So you calling that paint the sample Shiraz? I think that's more like Porsche Copper Ruby.
It could be, yeah. The more it depends which type of shade of light hits it.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, I'm sure will be watching. We'll be watching this back once he's out, once he gets home, and hopefully he can let us know exactly what shade of colour it is, because
it's fabulous. Whatever
it is, we love it. We absolutely love it. Car number 71, Paul Bocuse, had been dropped by this melee battling off over 6th position, but while that melee was going on, that's given him the opportunity to catch back up again.
But isn't that always the story, Peter, about this type of racing? As soon as you start scrapping, you're slowing yourself down because you're not on the optimum line through the race. That is move of the race for me so far by Aaron Johnson, as he took the opportunity. The door was left, I'm not going to say it was left open, it was left ajar, and he threw that number 24 car down inside Tyler Maxson, who's a difficult driver to pass. And Tyler, I think, was trying to do that really hard thing of attack and defend at the same time.
Tyler will be really frustrated, I think,
when he sees that back, he will.
Well, with how this race has gone so far, he knows he's quicker than this in terms of result, but he's just 2 moves have just not gone his way, and it's cost him dearly both times.
At the front of the field, Riley Dickinson has cleared off and put a second into Ryan Yardley, and the lead all of a sudden has popped out to 3 seconds.
Just like that. Yeah, that's what we saw at Sebring from Riley Dickinson. Once he gets into his groove, he's absolutely relentless. And coming back to that point in one make series like this, where if you make the tiniest mistake, you lose so much, and if you start battling, you lose so much. When you take it to a kind of, effectively, imagine a qualifying, in these cars you're trying to find the absolute minutiae of detail to try and get an edge over your competitor, and trying to find where those little advantages are, and he's just able to do that over and over again in clean air and build that gap gradually.
There is a 1:35.824 as the perfect lap.
Oh dear.
At the moment. Oh dear, says
James
Peter.
Sophronius, number 14, absolutely turfed into the gravel trap.
Down at turn 10.
I did not pick the number on the car. It's the 82 of Madeline
Maddie
Stewart.
Stewart.
Oh dear.
Not deliberate, but just a misjudgment on the brakes. ABS on these cars, which is quite unusual on the Porsche Carrera Cup series around the world. The thinking behind that, and that has been an option that's been ticked from Porsche. It's there, it's an option. You can, like every Porsche car, you can spec it the way you want it. You can put different headlights on it, you can put the bigger tank on if you're doing endurance racing, you can put the air jacks on it if you so desire to go and do longer races. And despite these cars only being designed for 40-50 minute races, they are very, very good endurance racing cars. One of the things is that ABS package, and the thinking behind this from Porsche Motorsport North America was that, particularly at the front of this field, the pro drivers, the drivers looking to make a career in Porsches or indeed in endurance racing, they're probably going to step up into GT3, an international GT3 or a global GT3 or GT4 championship, both of which, Peter, have racing ABS systems, so they might as well get used to it.
Exactly, and that's something that's been in place for so long. Since the late 90s, there's been a proper setup and pyramid for Porsche Juniors. It was smaller in those days, in the early 90s, early 2000s, just a handful of factory drivers, full stop, let alone juniors. And the drivers were taken through the Carrera Cup system and then were placed in cars in America that go to, as young men would, guys like your Bergmeister, Timo Bernhard, etc., they would be dispatched, Sasha Maschen, another one, Lucas Luhr, they would be dispatched to drive for customer teams in America and go and have these amazing experiences, going and like driving at the Rolex 24, driving at Sebring. And then these teams, when they had these really fast young drivers, thought, well, can we have them back again? And then, hey, before you know it, they're factory drivers. And that platform of the Carrera Cup, regardless of the generation, that it's just that now a GT3 car is obviously ABS and stuff, so the Cup car almost has to follow that pyramid, if you see what I mean. How you've got it, like you say, you've got to have a car that's relevant and is going to give the ideal training to the drivers.
These cars have always been a particular skill to drive all the way down through the years, because they're not a GT3 or a GT4. There are a specific specification. Now, hearing that there's a drive-through for Maddie Stewart. Now, that would be for the contact earlier on. Sees that replay, and she reviews this on the IMSA official YouTube channel later on. I'm not sure she's going to have very much to complain about there. Maddie, one of the slew of drivers who came across to Europe in September in last year, of last year, to do the Carrera Cup 992 endurance race at Spa, a 12-hour straight-through race organised by the Dutch promoter Creventic, who've had a liaison with IMSA down through the years and supported by Porsche Motorsport. A good time was had by all.
And there will be again this September,
yes, indeed,
for sure. And of course, that's a series where these cars run 24-hour races.
Oh, yes.
We've seen them on the overall podium.
Yes.
For those that have been run by good teams and good drivers, and it is possible. That's for sure. So that's a pity. Scott Blind, you have to say, how impressive is that? Made an error, you have to say, in the opening sector, turned another car around, took a drive-through penalty, and yet is now leading the Masters category by nearly 7 seconds. That's a fantastic recovery drive from Scott. He was smiling yesterday. I think he might be smiling even more if he can hold on for the next 7 minutes and 10 seconds.
It is still the Martinez number 4 car that leads in Pro Am as Maddie Stewart takes her medicine and comes down the pit lane. So 13th, 14th and 15th, Martinez, okay, and James Sofronast, but he's now dropped 13.5 seconds between the two battling. There's only 0.3 of a second between the two who are having the scrap in that category. Scott Blind in the 45, that very distinctive colourway of the bright yellow and the dark, almost purpley blue colour.
Yeah, you can't miss Scott Blind out on circuit, which means when incidents like what happened at the first corner happen, unfortunately, he's easy to spot for the race director. But the number 16 car of Torres getting turned around, a drive through for Scott Blind, and yet was able to fight back and get himself back up into a class-leading position. Speaking of class-leading positions, Riley Dickinson, 3 seconds to the good at the last timing point. He comes through. It's 3.2 seconds now, so Dickinson has this one under control with less than 6 minutes to go. Are we surprised? But this is a no. Fair, the short answer.
What I would say is the difference between Riley yesterday and today. Riley gave it his best yesterday. I think he was on used tyres yesterday. I think he's got more new tyres today. And you could see when he closed in on Ryan Yarder yesterday, he had no more performance to give. When he closed on him today, he knew he had the opportunity to pass, and he pressed. He basically pressed the argument a little bit more. Performance advantage, because the championship is what he's going for at the moment.
Yeah, and that was the only really question mark at all when Riley Dickinson returned to the championship for this 2025 season. Missed last year, and won it the year before. He's the same driver. In fact, I guarantee he's an improved driver of what he's learned over the last 18 months or so. But the team is the same, the car is the same. The only difference of the whole package is the tyre. Changing to the Yokohama tyre, we thought, how long is that going to take for him to get used to? Well, he showed his quality by, as soon as they rolled out the truck at the pre-season test in Sebring, bang, he was straight to the top of the timesheets. As soon as we hit race week in Sebring, bang, he was at the top of the timesheets. On pole, won the races. So that was the question answered there and then.
Riley Dickinson is in his very early 20s. He's still just young enough to get the Porsche Young Driver and go through at the end of the season. We've never had a driver from the North American Series win that shootout. We've sent some good drivers over there from this championship, and Riley Dickinson is absolutely determined to win this championship and represent this championship and try to become a Porsche-supported young driver.
And I think that, you know, that it's one of the most rigorous processes, and that the drivers that go to the young driver shootout, when you just think of the drivers who have gone there and haven't been chosen.
And it's not just about driving, right?
Exactly, and this is my point, is coming to, problem for Alan Metney, the hood is just popping up there as well, unfortunately for him. He's in 5th place in Pro-Am, but coming back to that point with the Porsche Juniors, like you say, outside the car is every bit as important for a Porsche factory driver, which is what they're aspiring to, as it is in the car, and how you deal with new teams. You could be with 5 different racing teams on 5 different race weekends in a row, and you've got to be able to adapt into new working environments over and all. Now, the driver who set the standard for that was Patrick Long. Certainly in recent memory, the only Porsche factory driver from North America before that would have been Harley Haywood, Walbert, etc. But in the modern era, Patrick Long's the reference, and you know, I always think you should choose.
He came to Europe for his career as well, and he single-seater career.
He did. Yeah. So, and I think yes, you know, you should always pick the best driver that you can, and who you think is going to fit that role. But for Porsche, North America is such a huge market for the road car and indeed for race cars. So to have a North American factory driver would be special, I think.
Down at the final corner, Peter holding it. When my colleague here, Peter goes, oh, I always know something's happening. That was actually Freiberg in the number 22 car on Sabre Cook. The 2 female drivers scrapping it out, the blue, yellow and white number 37 in 11th place. Both pro driver and pro class drivers. And Ashley Freiberg was absolutely gutted about what happened yesterday. Got a tap and the car had to go behind the wall on the first lap. When I say behind the wall, I mean behind the wall on the racetrack. A factory driver, he did not win the young drivers. He came through by other means. We've never had a North American Championship nominated driver getting through the young driver shootout.
Well, actually, his Porsche came onto his radar when he wasn't chosen for the Red Bull Formula 1 young driver program.
Absolutely right.
He was after not getting that opportunity, he went to the bar with his friend Nico Rosberg in Monaco, had a few drinks, and then got a phone call saying, "Can you be in Weissach tomorrow?" And he thought, well, why not? And the rest is history, as they say.
Michael Dickinson in the red and white number 11 has dropped way back there. He was going very slowly indeed. I wonder if he's clipped the wall somewhere. But as he comes to the line, Dickinson, who was in 5th position, he is going to tumble down the timing and scoring monitor.
He's in the pits.
Yeah, I think he clipped the wall earlier in the lap, maybe coming through either turns 6 and 7 or 8 and 9, but everyone streamed past him. We're on the final lap, so let's have a look at the sides of the car, unless he's got a drive-through. But he was slow before he came in to the pit lane.
Not even at full pit lane speed either. I think that's what a shame for Michael Dickinson. He's having such a good season. He was 4th when he coming into this weekend in the championship. DNF yesterday and a DNF again today. That on the last lap, that's such a shame.
Needed the checkered flag to come out a couple of minutes earlier. Well, there's still some dispute about the positions towards the bottom end of the top 10. Tyler Maxson, Paul Bocuse, Sabra Cook and Ashley Freiberg still right at it. But at the front of the field, Riley Dickinson is back to winning ways. The Kelly Moss Racing for Children's number 91 entry takes another victory in 2025. And Riley Dickinson again this weekend with a measured drive extends his championship lead.
A champion's drive today, just so under control, that went as quick as he needed to through. Baltas coming through is going to hang on to 5th position, but beating Mathieu's least to that one. And then in the rookies, Aaron Johnson just beating Tyler Maxson to the line. That move into turn 10, absolutely pivotal there.
That's my move of the race, actually. I think Aaron had used his tyres, the new Yokohamas, for yesterday. Started in 10th after not getting a qualifying time. Single qualifying session, best lap time sets the grid position for lap 1, second best for lap 2. Let's go through the winners in the categories. It was Martinez in Pro-Am ahead of Mulcahy and Sofronas. So James will not get to do all the celebrating. And in the Masters, Scott Blind in the yellow and blue, number 45, will have the opportunity to stand on a Formula One podium again. Riley Dickinson back to winning ways here. You've got to say, he has gone about his business in a measured, calculated way that really has been impressive. And dare I say it, is very Porsche.
Exactly, because in the old days, should we say, when it was, don't know why I said that.
Who's half my age.
Exactly, in the old days, in the past, when way back when Alvin Springer, one of the founders of Andile, of course, Andile Trophy, part of this championship for the IndyCar, Alvin Springer, when he was the boss of Porsche Motorsport North America, the amount of drivers that drove for him, who came over from Germany and were told very, 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 very sternly, here is a plane ticket. You'll race hard here. I'll look after you. You'll race hard. You'll race fair. But if you hit another Porsche, take this plane ticket. Go to the airport. Don't even come back to the truck. Just go home.
Yeah.
So there's a lot expected of you going to that level.
From our effects Mike's trackside, you're going to hear the applause. It's been a very busy day and a long day for the spectators, with the Formula One Grand Prix having been completed some time ago, and phenomenal, Formula One Grand Prix still to come, with the spectators coming in this early morning here, and they've got in early and they have given a standing ovation there. These Canadian fans know their motorsport. And Riley Dickinson, I think that was a measured drive. You know, yesterday I liked the way he controlled the enthusiasm. He had a go at Ryan Yardley for a couple of laps towards the end of the race, realised that the risk versus reward quotient was probably not quite in his favour, and he wanted the second place. He wanted the first place, but he wasn't going to give that up to chance it for a low percentage lunge. Today, he felt more confident. He maybe had a little more Yokohama tyre underneath him. Took the opportunity and went out to a 3-second lead at the flag.
And out he gets out of the car, big double thumbs up, double fingers in the air for P1 for Riley Dickinson. It's a second place and a first place points for him. Fantastic stuff. But one driver I want to mention is straight away Riley Dickinson straight over to Ryan Yardley for a chat. Great mutual respect between these two. Yardley looks really, really downtrodden actually with that race. He's staying in the car, and Riley's gone over to almost console him there. That's very, very sporting indeed.
Yeah.
And those two, what you come to expect from Riley's a very, very polite young man.
Yes, he is.
One driver I want to mention though, John, is Zach Vanier. This podium at his home race is huge for him.
Yeah, totally agree there. Totally agree. Victoria Thomas and Andy Kilcoyne for Kelly Moss Racing. Well, they know how to win, and they've picked another winner with Riley Dickinson. almost destined for...
There's a two-way street there, because Kelly Moss definitely know how to pick good drivers, but also good people. You know, there's a thread. There's a thread, isn't there, of the people that have driven for them are really nice young men. But also, the thing is as well is that they go to Kelly Moss because Kelly Moss are the car you want to be in. The results show that. That's not my opinion. That's just the results. The results are Kelly Moss is the front-running team in this championship, and their results prove that. And that attracts drivers who want to be in the best car. They attract. They go to Kelly Moss for that.
Second place for Patrick Mulcahy in the 54 Pro-Am car. Wow. Really, really impressive weekend for our winner, Riley Dickinson. Scott Blinn, by the way, despite the incident that he was involved in, came back to 18th and to win the Masters Pro-Am. Was the 12th place in Pro-Am in a race that was not neutralised for the Pro-Am winner. That was the Martinez car, the number 4. Riley Dickinson just getting rid of his race kit into the Racing for Children's white and green car. That livery is becoming a classic. It's been around for over a decade now. Also support the IndyCar race at Barber Motorsport Park. Oh, these cars at Barber Motorsport Park.
Oh yes, please.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Well, IMSA have had single manufacturer championships there in the past. Great win for Riley Dickinson in that white and green car with the handprints. Warmly applauded and appreciated by a knowledgeable Canadian crowd here at the Canadian Grand Prix. A second and a first in the 2 races for Riley will extend his championship lead. Ryan Yardley cements his place in second place ahead of Yves Boltas in third in the championship. I'm not going to attempt to do the championship positions in the pro category. Dickinson, Yardley, Vanier then on the box. Jimmy Lieber in fourth, Yves Boltas in fifth. Matthias Leist, Aaron Johnson from 10th to 7th. But remember, he started at the back yesterday, so he's had some decent running. JP Martinez in 12th ahead of Patrick Mulcahy, James Sofronas there on the podium in Pro-Am. Scott Blind in 18th. The number 45 car will win the Masters class ahead of Todd Parriott. Not everybody making the trip north of the border. We will reconvene on the 1st to the 3rd of August at America's National Park of Speed, Road America, Wisconsin. And we will have that race, those races for you. 2 more races on the just over 4 mile around circuit in front of a huge crowd, I am sure. Live here on the official IMSA YouTube channel.
Looking forward to that one. Road America is an amazing circuit. It's just so quick. So many fast corners through there. Great overtaking opportunities. Big braking zones down. You think down into turn 4, down the hill. Sorry, 5. Excuse me. Down in the hill. Really good opportunity to make a pass there, and indeed down into the Hurry Downs. You can make a pass there into Canada Corner. There's loads of overtaking, and it's just a pure thrill ride to drive around that amazing circuit.
My apologies, actually. I've got my great North American circuits mixed up. It will be at Watkins Glen International that we next see these
week.
cars.
How could we forget?
It's a back-to-back.
Yes.
It's a back-to-back event, and so they'll be supporting the Salins 6 hours of the Glen. And the part that I got right was we will still have the coverage for you on IMSA's YouTube channel and across our syndications.
And another very fast racetrack. You know, you look at particularly it's the S's at the start of the lap for me when you're between the walls. And
it's like a street circuit at that point, Peter.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then coming out of there, you've then got a good opportunity to line a move up going up the hill. So definitely be sure to join us for that one.
2 more races across that weekend. Check the schedule, but from memory, I think it's Friday and Saturday for the two Porsche Carrera Cup North American races. Now just waiting for the formalities. I hear the voice of Bob Constantiouris. Let's hear from him as he brings out our class winners. So the three class winners brought on. Scott Blinn jumped straight on to the middle of the podium there. He's had to give that up for Riley Dickinson, and here is the national anthem of the winner. Riley Dickinson enhancing his championship credentials in the pro category ahead of Ryan Yardley, who vaults up to second place in the pro class this weekend. JP Martinez still leading in pro am against James Safronas, I reckon, now in second, and Alan Metney in third. Scott Blinn, Tom Parriott remain first and second in the Masters. Trophies being handed out. This is looking ominous for the other competitors in the pro category. Riley Dickinson with a year off, a year sabbatical, and now back with a bang in the pro category. Time to get the fizzy. Nice move by Riley Dickinson. Bangs the champagne on the floor, and he is celebrating an even larger lead in the championship. Next week we'll reconvene to do it all again at Watkins Glen in the Finger Lakes region of New York. For Peter Mackay and for all of our production staff trackside here at Circus Shield Villeneuve, and especially to Aaron Stevens and those at Concord at NASCAR Productions, I'm John Hindhaugh. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Motorsport Sunday.